Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon for everyone. I have come on today to read Quran and answer questions and generally have a general chinwag on YouTube as I usually do. Uh, Just making a post, anyone's wondering. My apologies. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone in the room. My apologies, I was not ignoring you. I'm just got on. How is everyone today? I hope you're good. I hope everyone's having a lovely day. Oh, assalamu alaikum, region. From Texas? I'm driving a Muslim cowboy. And lovely to see you, sister. Assalamu alaikum. It's a Muslim cowboy driving through Texas. Yeehaw! Damn, Regan. It'll make me laugh thinking like that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone on my live. Welcome. Oh, so it's an open-ended topic today. So it'll come from whatever questions are generally asked in the chat. Yeah, I thought you'd laugh at that, Anna. I don't even have a cowboy hat, and I think that would be quite funny to have. So yeah, the questions are open-ended today. So I'm genuinely going to either be reading Quran or answering questions. Giving my thoughts. I do want to speak very briefly about the Guardian's piece about British Muslims being citizenship being second-class citizens. Now, the reason I want to briefly touch on this is because this is an opinion piece held by the Guardian specifically about I was going to do a video about it, but it's a specific point that is held and holds connotations from the IRR, which is the International Race Relations. Now, that's one think tank in the UK. Yeah, I'm talking about it now, sister. So it's one think tank in the UK. Now, it's important for me to mention this is because they themselves are an incredibly woke think tank, and that does not necessarily continue towards us. Now, if the Imperial College of Research and the other think tanks start holding similar views, you've got to understand to get your passport and citizenship revoked is extremely difficult. Even as we say this, Siobhan Bagley, or how I can't even pronounce her name, she's fighting to have her citizenship reinstated. And as the evidence piles up how she was renditioned into Iraq by Canadian spies with the full tactile support of the British intelligence community to act as information go-betweens on behalf of the spying agency against Daesh, is a very telling example of how they used young British Muslim women who were in a vulnerable state. And I have always had a dim view of her and much of what she did, and much of what the young Muslim women who, by our standards, being 15, you're intelligent enough to understand where you're going, what you're doing. Just now realise that she's been manipulated by the British intelligence and the Canadian intelligence is a great deal of something for me to be a bit more fucking irate about. So getting back to the Guardian conversation, that's one think tank. It's one media think tank. I'm not that concerned about it simply because, is that a mark on my camera? It is a mark on my camera. I thought that was something else. There's one think tank that's holding these opinionable positions, and it's not. Basically, she was renditioned. I'm not a fan of hers. She went off to fight for. She went off to being married to a Daesh cult leader, etc., etc. But as news has come out from her lawyer that she had a Canadian spy help her get across the border, and that was from what we can tell is the tactile support of the British intelligence. So she was fed over the border by a British spy on behalf of the Canadian intelligence, on behalf of the British intelligence through annuals. Which brings me to the conclusion that the British intelligence were aware that there were young British women going off to be from Daesh, and that they used that opportunity to acquire information. It's morally bankrupt. Absolutely morally bankrupt. So there's more to this than why they've taken away her passport. Because if she comes home, she starts talking about this freely, then the intelligence community has egg on their face. And I think that leads to more reasons on why it's not just to protect the public, as the Tory government have previously said. It actually comes down to them wanting to protect their spies, basically, from the disgusting behaviour that their spies engage in. No, sister, that's the point. I was against her coming home. I was against her coming home, in essence. But that's detracting from the reason. The Guardian newspaper has made a piece just recently about calling us second-rate citizens, that we can be deported if we have another citizenship in another country without our permission by the courts. Now, this is the opinion of one think tank, the International Race Relations. Now, that sounds like they are a noble group, but you've got to also remember these are the same people who advocate to protect Persian fruity community coming over to Britain, directly insulting. I wasn't at the time, sister. I wasn't a keen supporter of her coming home because it sent the wrong message to Desha supporters, is my reason behind it. But after finding out what the British government was protecting, I'm all for her coming back and spilling the beans. But fundamentally, I'm quite angry about that, because I thought that it was all something that those girls had wised up to, chose to. Now it looks like they were groomed by spies to go over there, and that I have a problem with. It's not so clear cut like they've made that decision to do their own, sort out their own bed. It seems that they were influenced by the Western intelligence community, and that's a damn good reason for me to be very suspicious of anything else that comes out from that conversation. But in essence, we are aware that the Guardian has written this paper, and the paper has said very clearly that in the opinions of the International Race Relations, that we are second-rate citizens if we have a passport. So let's see, theoretically, the British government could deport me to Ireland. Theoretically. And in this, there's an incredibly racist kind of point of view, but the mechanics to do so is so convoluted that it is not as easy as people make it out to be. It's a lot more difficult than people are insinuating. The idea around it is extremely difficult, but that's a by the way. Anything else anyone wants to ask amongst the chat, be my guest. I'm more than happy to answer any of the questions that you've got. I've already covered the subject about Shimon Beggar coming home and the Guardian's recent post. Though personally, I'm not a great fan of the Guardian. I think it's still a Western mouthpiece, and you should always take anything in the Western media says with a serious pinch of salt. I mean, that's a key reason why friends of mine have come online and actually asked me. I had a brother ask me about my opinion on the International Race Relations think tank, and again, I'm not a fan because of how incredibly woke they are. Yeah, to a degree, we've always known that, sister. Alhamdulillah, we've always known that. We've always known that we were here to replace the labour pool that was diminished by warfare. And I've said many times, don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable in the Western society. I've made videos about this. When Baroness Wolsey made her rather large statement about how she's so incredibly establishment, the video I had of that was on Instagram has been taken down for for violations. No. I think it's more likely, sister, that sections of the Muslim community will move out. Sections of the Muslim community will move out over time. I don't think the British government will ever go down that rabbit hole, because that will cause European sanctions on Britain. And we're already seeing how incredibly damaging sanctions are. And Britain, unlike Russia, does not have raw resources. It does not have the ability to float some of those sanctions, replacing it with its own assets, with its own methodology and its own internal, because it's a massive continental-sized power. It stretches from Asia to Europe. So, I mean, it's massive. As such, we need to make very, very clear that the European powers would absolutely savage the British government in any way, shape. Even the French would savage the British government for something like the Euro guy. That's just not going to happen in the UK. And to be fair, a lot of it has a lot of Western media wrapped around it. We still to this day do not know what's going on with our brothers and sisters in Asia, the Uruguay. We don't. What we have is a few of their statements, which I take on face value, and a lot of blown up material from Western media. Do you understand what I'm saying? So take what our brothers and sisters say personally rather than what the Western media prints. Because the Western media wants to paint the entire Western civility and Muslims against China. Now, are these isolated cases in China? I don't know. What means by second-class citizens? A second-class citizen is somebody who doesn't have the rights and privileges of everybody in Norman society. You can't buy houses is an example of second-class citizens. You have to, like to my example I give you, Anna, for a more modern terminology, the black South Africans in apartheid South Africa were effectively second-class citizens. I wouldn't say British Muslims are like that into that level. We're not. British Muslims are by their nature. It's more like a half a step down from the standard white liberal touchy-feely, everything's woke. They're the proper citizens of this secular, filthy nation. Even Catholics don't feel like their opinions and their views are held in any real regard. We, the religious community, yeah, it means they can strip us from citizenship. That's a interpretation, sister, yes, of second-class citizenship. But it's not an entire correct, because you can have second-class citizens who can't be stripped of their second-class citizenship because of legal protections given to them by the first-class citizens who are libertarian. So it depends on where you are. The idea of second-class citizenship is very much, we could be heading towards that, absolutely, sister. That's a fundamentally acceptable grievance. We could be heading towards that. But second-class citizenship is depending on what state or republic or nation you're in. In a constitutional monarchy, that might not be as bad as the French Republic, where the French Republic during its revolution period was stripping citizenship of the body without even a shadow of a doubt. Royalists weren't called, royalists in revolutionary France weren't even called citizens. They were considered traitors to the state, and these were white on white people killing each other. So you've got to understand the ratio of second-class citizenship can change depending upon the situation or body that you're in. But to all British Muslims, I will be brutal. Don't get comfortable. I've said that many, many times. Have a secondary home ready. Have secondary funds ready. Have backup finances ready. And I stand by that, because the situation in this ummah is not great. It's not great for Muslims here in the West. And many people get too comfortable. You get comfortable in the fitna. You get comfortable in this dunya. And these people don't want us. They've made themselves very, very clear that they don't want us. We reach any kind of a position of authority or power, the British Muslim community is given a great deal of hatred. They want us for our workforce, for our birth rate, for our ability to man their factories and their shops, and that's all they want. They don't want us to have an opinion. The British and the entire Western elite and Western society and liberalists have made it very, very clear. They do not want the religious Muslim community to have any say inside of social life. They've made that abundantly clear to everybody. Since probably the 80s, we've known that. Since Ewan Powell, Unic Powell has made this very, very clear. Western liberal society does not want Muslims to have a voice. Doesn't matter whether we like that or not. And Baroness Wolsey is a perfect example of the trophy Muslim with a tiny amount of power who has achieved, in my opinion, fuck all. And I know that's politically incorrect to say, to swear about that, but she hasn't. What has she done to change the lives of our Muslim society here in Britain? Very, very little. She had to beg for her job before she was fired. I think it was David Cameron that basically changed her out of power. She had a very brief moment on cabinet, and people thought it was a little too woke having Muslims on the council. There are no real heavy positions of Muslims amongst the modern Labour government today. We don't share power. We don't participate amongst their society. Their values and our values are so diametrically opposed that they only want us as tax-paying, baby-making sheep. And that's realistically what they see us as. And if you don't realise that that's how the Western liberal elite see you, you're deluding yourselves. And holding this perception that we are of value to the Western leadership is a joke. I'm sorry, it is. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. But bird nest. And I fundamentally agree with that. But I don't agree with the vitriol that the Muslim community has given to a dead woman, because that's nasty. That's vile in how the British and non-British Muslim online community has been disgusting to the Queen. Now, yes, colonialism is vile. I'm not defending colonialism. I'm not defending the empire. I'm not a fan of the empire. I've made that very, very clear multiple times. You know, being Irish, that kind of comes into the raison d'etre of hating the empire. But blaming someone who's dead is an un-Islamic behaviour. We should ask questions about King Charles. We should ask questions about Parliament. We should take this moment of heightened attention to the royals to direct our ability to the living of what we can change today. You know, she's being dealt with by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of what she has done and what she hasn't done. That's between Allah and her. That's not between us. Okay, God is going to answer that. The judge has arrived. Oh, absolutely, and that doesn't even surprise me, sister. For those who don't actually see my chat, I might actually read this out. For Zionist Muslims, there's no issue. Zion Muslims' loyalties to Israel state for promotion of wealth and independence. Absolutely. And there are, and I'm quite horrified to realise there are a lot more. I thought that Zionist Muslims were an oxymoron. I thought they were a general oxymoron. I thought that they were the very few corrupt social elites at the top of some Middle Eastern countries. But apparently there's a lot more than I thought. Middle class, rich British Muslims have some very pro-Zionist views, which are absolutely terrifying. There are middle class Zionist Muslims who have anti-Pakistani views as well. During the floods, I've had messages of people saying that they don't care about Pakistan. A Muslim majority country suffering the most horrific natural disasters, and there are British Muslims who have said to me, "Not my problem." Wealthy British Muslims, like make me look poor. I have a flat. I'm secure. I don't have any real financial problems, but I don't have excessive amount of money that I can give to charity. And yet these people that were talking to me very much did. They had more than the financial means to help Pakistan put a hand in their pocket for the deen of Allah subhanahu. Not my problem, was their words. And that's quite shocking when you realise how bad the Muslim community can be. And there's another thing that ties into this. I was having a conversation with a Christian friend of mine. And yes, I know what people say about having friends who aren't Muslim, etc., etc. That's a literalist interpretation. And I don't tend to hold a literalist interpretation of our Qur'an. As much as I love the Qur'an and I love the beauty of it from a religious point of view, literalist is quite dangerous. It's almost very fanatical. But I have a Christian friend who I've made online who has given an observation of his views on northern British Muslims about how them and their imams are more wrapped in politics than they are with the love of the Quran, and how their money is generally made by crime, by drugs, by using drug money to build up their family estates. And that's horrifying. That's absolutely bloody horrifying. When you realise the woes in our own deen, you can understand. I mean, many of you must be able to understand why reverts go to the Salifa, because it only takes about 10 to 20 minutes to look at some of the most vile crimes by drug dealers caused in places like Leicester and Norfolk and areas like that. And they're Muslim criminals. Let's say they're Muslim family criminals. They claim that they're Muslim. But yet we don't talk about this. This isn't a subject that's generally raised. And that's one of the things my Christian friend said to me. He said, when I was doing research into Islam, because I'm a true believing man, I go to church, I give charity, etc. You know, you get these rare gems of Christians across the UK. And he says, when I started looking into Islam, I was told by my real Muslim believing brothers who do college friends, who pray 5 times a day, don't go to any of the mosques up here. Don't go to any of the mosques. All of their imams engage in politics. and they're put there by rich gangland families who made their money, bought land from drug money. A'udhu billah minash shaitanir regime. The Muslim landowners, wealthy Muslims in the north of the United Kingdom, are there by drug money. That is a horrifying situation to be in terms from an Islamic point of view. That's the extent of our religious beliefs. Anyway, I've been waffling for 20 minutes. Brothers, sisters, everyone online, give me some verses to say in the Qur'an, and I will try to iterate them in Arabic in my Qur'an. So, Al-Fatiha to start with. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas sirata mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta 'alayhim ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim waladdallin. So I think, without some difficulty, I've managed to get Al-Fatiha under a wrap, relatively speaking. I'm going to push this back so you can actually see that I am actually holding the Quran. 2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. So yeah, so you can see my Quran, my beautiful, beautiful Quran. So, sisters, brothers, those of you in the live, give me some choices. Give me some choices of some things. What do we got? What do we got? Come on, give me some verses to recite. Some ayats, maybe. Let's find something. I need to expand my ability to hear my ear saying the Quran in as much Arabic as I physically can. Where are we? Anybody said any suggestions? Come on, guys. There's 3 of you in the live. You can at least come up and poke up and say something. Or are you all too busy to give me Quran verses? You just want to come on and show your support, which I deeply appreciate. Asafat. No, let's go a bit further. Sure. Ayat 52. Here. Surah Ilkas, please. Fantastic one. Could you give me the number? Regan, Surah Ilkas. Give me the number, please. I know what I'm looking for. The ayat and number, please. Much appreciated. Surah Ilkas. Surah Ilkas. Where is Ilkas? Modus. Eris. Morphos. Talak. Mulak. Kulaim. Ak. Jin. That door is going to drive me absolutely insane. 112. Marvellous. Absolutely marvellous. 112. You can hear us. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huliyahi al-ahad. Alahi samad. Lam yalad. Walam yulad. Walam yukul lahu kufuwan ahad. Ilkaras. 112. Where is Ilkaras? There it is. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Say He is Allah, the one and only. Allah, the eternal, absolute. He begot not, nor is He begotten, and there is none like unto Him. Ilkahas. I don't know. How was my pronunciation, guys? Terrible? Bad? Come on, be honest. 112. Let's go for the fala quick underneath it. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qala uz bil falik. Min shari man khalik. Wa min shari kasrin is. Wa min shari nafathi fil yukud. Wa min shari hazim is hazadat. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of dawn from the mischief of created things, from the mischief of darkness as it is overspread, from the mischief of those who practice secret arts, and from the mischief of the envious ones as he practice envy. Alhamdulillah. Islam. I love this book. I really do. It's the best gift I ever got given by a Muslim. I do try, Bird, but my pronunciation is absolutely horrible, and we both know that. Nas. This is one of my favourite ones. Nas. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qala uz bin Rabin Nas. Malakin Nas. Ilahin Nas. Min Sharin Waswarin Khan Nas. Alazin Yuwaswi fi Surudurin Nas. Mina Jinnat Wan Nas. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord and cherisher of mankind, the King or ruler of mankind, Allah or judge of mankind, from the mischief of the whisperer of evil, who withdrawn after the whisper, the same who whispers into the hearts of mankind among jinns and among mankind, or among man. 112. Arabic language is so beautiful. Makes English look almost barbaric. Kafarun. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qawul alu kafarun. La abu matabudu. Wala ati abadan ma'abud. Wala an abadum ma'atam. Wala atum abadnama abud. La karim dinokrim walayudin. That's 109. Kafarun. All those who reject faith. Say ye who reject faith, I worship not that which you worship, nor will you worship that which I worship. And I will not worship that which you have been wont to worship, nor will you worship that which I worship. To you be your way, and to be mine. Any suggestions? Any suggestions? Ooh. Duty is to refrain and perfect his recitation of the Qur'an until the day of his death. May Allah reward you for the efforts, Aki. Reward is double a born speaking Muslim. 3 colors. Oh, thank you, sister. I'm good. The practice is coming along. It's getting there. It's definitely getting there. Masad Lahab. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Tabid yada ab labarin watab. Ma'ang anu malahu waman kasab. Sayuso naraza lahab. Waram athu haman latahab. Fi jadin habalin min masadad. Where is it? Masad. Lahab, or the father of flame. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Perish the hands of the father of the flame, perish he. No profit to him from all his wealth and all his gains. Burnt soon will be he in the fire of the blazing flame. His wife shall carry the crackling wood as fuel, a twisted rope of palm leaf, fibed around her own neck. I love these short ones. They allow me to concentrate and actually pay attention to them. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Quayru Saha. So my apologies. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Laif Quayusha. El Fahim Ratan Shita Wasafa. Fayu Budu Rabahas Beat. Alazin at Alhim min Yu Inawa. Amahim min Kafwa. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, for the covenants of security and safety enjoyed by the Quraysh, their covenants covering journeys by winter and summer, let them adore the Lord of this house, who provides them with food against hunger and with security against fear of danger. Quraysh being the tribe of our beautiful Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Ma'un. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ara atalazi yukaba bidin. Afaza lazin yul yatim. Wala yuhudid alatam amalam misakin. Fawala lid muslim. Alazin hum alasit him sahun. Alazin hum yura'un. Wa yama ud ma'un. Ma'un, or neighbour's need. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, seek thou ones who deny the judgment to come. Then such is the man who repulses the orphan with harshness, and encourages not the feeding of the ignorant. So woe to the worshipper who are neglectful of their prayers, those who want put to the seam of men, but refuse to supply even neighbourly needs. Beautiful parts of the Quran. Any suggestions? Any suggestions? I'm all for. Am I reciting Al-Quran every day? Yeah. No, Anna, I'm generally not. I don't get that much often. And this is why I tend to do it on these lives. I recite Quran because I have, it's a mad rat race I'm in at the moment. I'm working 2 jobs whilst trying to provide a monstrous cost of living. So, no, I mean, if my YouTube gets off the ground, I intend to do more recitation. I intend to travel a great deal. That's the key reason why I do my YouTube, is to allow me to have the financial freedom to travel to masjids, to travel out of where I live, to move around and meet the Muslim community at large. But I have longed to do so because one of my key problems is I'm realistically financially trapped where I am in the deep boroughs. And it's not a complaint. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made me safe. I am safer than many of my brothers and sisters. I have a roof over my head, I have food in my belly, I currently have heat in the house as winter is onset. So I'm very appreciative of the gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me. I am eternally grateful that my Creator has given me what I have now. But my goal is to build a platform to the point where I can travel and spend more time inside the Muslim community at large and be outside of the countryside. Because it isn't a joke, Anna, when I say I am the only Muslim in the village. I am literally, in this village of about 700 families, I am the single Muslim. So it does get a little lonely. I'm not going to lie, it does. Not being able to relate to people. And my flatmate's really lovely. He's a lovely person, but he's a type of Protestant Christian, non-practicing. So try reciting 1 or 2 ayats of the Quran. That's pretty good advice, sister. Alhamdulillah. But I tend to take these Thursdays where I would do recitations live with people because I enjoy having the time. So if I'm going to be talking to people on the live, I can also read the Quran during that time. Asr, or Asr, time through the ages. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal Asr, ina ihsan lafi kursu. Ilal azin amu wa amalis salhata wa tawasa. Bilhaq wa tawasa bisa. By the token of the time through the ages, verily man is in lost, except such to have faith, do righteous deeds, and join together in the mutual teachings of the truth and the patience and consciousness. May Allah help you achieve your goals. I do. Yahya Sabab. And I deeply appreciate all the support I get from the Muslim community. I really do. I think in many ways that the fact that the Muslim community subscribes to my page, I mean, I'm still astounded I have over 1,000 subscribers on here as it is. I try to keep my worser behaviour that I leave on the other social medias off this one. I really do try my absolute best to avoid my foul language and my other less consistently Muslim rotations away. I keep telling many of the Muslim community online that if you want to see the better Muslim man of me, come to my YouTube. That's a video I should probably make later. Alhamdulillah, that's a sound idea. Absolutely. Anybody wishes to make ask a recitation that I can try, by all means, please do so in the live. Don't be afraid to offer a chat. I'm just going through the short ayats because I'm trying to help myself recite. I'm more than happy to see if anyone wants me to try something. Adiyat, Bayana, Qadar, the night of power or honor. Oh, excuse me. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ina alalu fi lahid Qadar. Wa ma'adak malayalut Qadar. Laylut Qadara karim min ala sara. Tamazal malaikata. Waruhu fi bi is rabin min kulama. Salam hiya hata matal ilfaj. We have indeed revealed the message in the night of power, and what we'll explain to thee when the night of power is. The night of power is better than 1,000 months. Therein come down the angels and the spirits by Allah's permission on every errand. Peace, this until the rise of morn. It almost brings me to tears at how beautiful the Quran. I don't think people realise, Western people don't actually understand the beauty of the symmetry in the Quran, the beauty of its entire literacy. The Quran itself is a miracle, and I stand by that statement without any shadow of doubt. It's a beautiful miracle in upon itself. The way it is written, the way it is preserved, the way it has never been changed. Since the days of our Prophet and his Sahaba, we have the Quran as it was supposed. And that in itself is a beautiful miracle. And unchanged, unfettered by time, unaltered by man's hand. This beautiful 1,400 years of history is physically in my hands. And it's enough to almost bring men to tears. And this is why I've encouraged my other Christian historian friends to come to Islam. I said, historians have a way of appreciating perfectly preserved history. And that's what the Quran is. It's a perfect piece of historical documentation of the life and the abilities of our Prophet and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought to us, wrapped in one book. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. When people do not realize how magnificent this book is, and then there are idiots in Sweden and Norway and those my head hurts, who burn Qurans with no idea of what they're doing, burning the words of Allah subhanahu as if they could destroy it, as if we don't have hundreds, probably thousands of Quranic recitationists. You know, I can't pronounce the word. The ones who memorize the Quran word for word. Those beautiful human beings. I hope to raise my future children like that. One of my prayers, one of my dua, is that my son will be a perfect reciter of the Quran. That would make me weep like a baby. Watching your children recite this into the beauty that it is. Shurul or constitution. In the name of Allah, most gracious. Haman Sin Kaf. This doth he send inspiration to thee, as he did to those before thee. Allah, exalted in power, full of wisdom. To him belong all that is in the heavens and on the earth. He is the most high, the most high. Where? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To him belongs all that is in the heavens and on the earth. He is the most high, the most great. The heavens are almost rent asunder from above them by his glory, and the angels celebrate the praise of their Lord and pray for forgiveness for all beings on earth. Behold, verily, Allah is he, the often forgiving, most merciful. And those who take as protectors others beside him, Allah does watch over them. And those who are not the despiser of their affairs. Thus have we sent by inspiration to their Arabic Quran, that they may us warn the mother of cities and all around her, and warn them of the days of assembly, of which there is no doubt, when some will be in the garden, some will be in the blazing fire. If Allah had so willed, he could have made them a single people, but he admits whom he wills to his mercy, and the wrongdoers will have no protection nor helper. What have they taken for worship? Protectors beside him. But it is Allah, he is the protector, and it is he who gives life to the dead. It is he who has power over all things. Whether it be within ye define the decision thereof, is when Allah, such as Allah by my Lord, in him I trust, to him I turn. It's been a lovely live. Done some Quran recitation. Assalamu alaikum, Malaysia. So, to my Malaysian brothers and sisters, Din, this is where I try my best to keep my Muslim community versus very Islamic. Because I do try very hard to avoid swearing on my YouTube, and I do it. But that's one of my demons. That's one of my jinns, if you like. I'm always battling my linguistical problems. But this is where I try to act my absolute best behaviour. And I fail. I'm human. I fully admit that I'm human and I fail. But this is where I try to be the better man, the better Muslim man, to present myself as the man I want to be to the Muslim community. It has been a pleasure having everyone on this live. And I'd like to thank everyone who came. And I'd like to thank everyone who gave their suggestions. Bird especially. And my Muslim Texan. Yeehaw! Muslim Texan. I still can't get over that. I have a Muslim Texan come into my life. That's amazing. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's been a pleasure having you all. I speak to you soon, probably next week. But I will be having another video up talking about The Guardian, hopefully tomorrow.